Hi all, good morning. So today we will be discussing about the Agile Manifesto. So the question is how this Agile Manifesto came into life, right? So as we all know that before 2000, it was the SDLC phases where most of the projects were getting developed. That was having its own challenges, right? And if you remember that at those times we were in the industrialization phase, meaning the software industry was not that matured, right? But after 2000, in somewhere around 2001, the 17 people collaborated together, right? And they actually were trying to uncover better way of developing softwares. So they actually provided these four values. So we'll go one by one. So the first value is like individuals and interactions over processes and tools. So the emphasis was given on the interactions between the individuals, right? Because before the Agile manifesto, the softwares were getting developed in a basically isolated manner. Like the business people were only responsible for gathering the business requirement. The designers were only concerned about the designing phases, right? The UI design or UI interactions, and the developer and testers were only responsible for developing the code and the testing the softwares. So that all together, all say it was all happening in isolations. So Agile says that this should not be happen in isolation. Rather, the interaction should happen so that everybody understands the overall product, right? And they work together to achieve a specific goal, right? The second principle is working software over comprehensive documentation, right? So Agile says that uh, compared to STLC, where the entire requirement was getting, captured, and then the entire designing and coding and testing happens, then only customer was able to see the overall product, right? So Agile suggests that it should not be the way. So suppose if we have a software, and if that software is having 10 features, so Agile suggests that developing one feature and end to end and collaborating with the customer, just demonstrate that product with the customer, get the feedback, and then update that one feature with the suggested changes, and then move to the second feature. So this is how this the way of software development actually got changed. The third option is the customer collaboration over contract negotiation. So in SDLCA's, customer was the people who was always invited very late, and that was the reason he was able to suggest the changes at the end, because he was not getting involved in the early development cycles. So that's the reason customer collaboration is very important, just to get the what is the customer's view, what is the current business scenario that is required, right? To uh, the software should work accordingly. So Agile suggests that the customer collaboration should be taken on priority, and the working software should be shared with the customer so that he can provide his input, right? And then accordingly, this fourth principle, responding to change. After the customer is has provided his suggestion, then those suggestions can be incorporated. So meaning those changes can be responded. But in SDLC, it was very difficult to make the changes because it will trigger changes to the entire life cycle. So if you think that this Agile is actually, in a nutshell, I would say that it is a more focus over the working software, in a iterative and incremental manner, where customer is also actually visiting the actually visiting the developed software and providing his input, and then changes are made accordingly. So this entire process is iterative and incremental. So these are the four values which are the foundations of agile software development. And today's modern software development approaches like Scrum, Kanban, or Chef, these are all actually following, trying to implement all these values, right? So that's it into this session. Hope this was helpful to you. We'll be discussing about the agile principles in next video. Thank you for watching.